As I was working on the Appalachia project, I was reminded of a story. It involves 4 blind men and an elephant. The way the story goes is that 4 blind men were placed in front of an elephant. One in front of the elephant's leg, another the elephant's body, another its trunk, and one more in front of the elephant's tusk. The king came to the 4 blind men, and he said, "What is an elephant?" The man who was in front of the elephant's leg said, "An elephant is like a strong tree." The man in front of the elephant's body said that an elephant is like a great wall. The man in front of the elephant's tusk said an elephant is a powerful spear. And finally, the man who was in front of the elephant's trunk said an elephant is like a mighty snake. Each one had developed their own truth based on what they were experiencing. The National Council for Teachers of English says that educational experiences are more authentic and of greater value to students when the curricula reflects real life, which is multifaceted rather than being compartmentalized into neat subject matter packages. In their view, real-world problems are complex, so no single discipline can adequately describe and resolve these issues. Therefore, they're not surprised that interdisciplinary forms of learning are prevalent and growing throughout education. Leonardo da Vinci said when discussing the principles for the development of a complete mind, he said, "Study the science of art, study the art of science. Develop your senses, especially learn how to see. Realize that everything connects to everything else." If we were to walk into most high schools in America right now, we would find common subjects being taught, such as English, math, history, government, and science. And each one of those are most likely taught in a compartmentalized, standalone fashion. But what if we had the opportunity to merge those topics together, to discuss an interdisciplinary approach that appealed to multiple subject areas? Let me introduce you to the Appalachia Integrated Disciplines Project. The Appalachia Integrated Disciplines Project will allow teachers of multiple disciplines to teach within their own discipline, but by using a common topic, in this case, Appalachia. So you may have a science teacher, a history teacher, a biology teacher, and an English teacher all teaching within their own discipline, but using a common topic, and in this case, the Appalachia videos. Here's what we've worked on for English teachers. This is something that an English teacher would receive when they sign up for the Appalachia Integrated Disciplines Project. The first thing we have is a note to the teacher. The note to the teacher discusses how they might use this in the class, different ways that they can utilize the system, and things that their students are going to be able to turn into them after the project is over. We then walk the teachers through the steps of using the system, beginning with watching the documentary. If time permits, they can watch anything from 1 to all 4 videos. And then they can do a review of what persuasive content is, because in this scenario, our content is going to be focused on persuasive essays, which is an integral part of the SOLs here in Virginia. The teachers will then show the module to the class, and built into the module are opportunities where the students can work either individually or within groups. Once those students are in those groups or working individually, they'll complete the assignments that the module requests. After each breakout session, they'll go back to the module and continue watching portions of the video that deal with the topic at hand. The module will provide the teacher with the instructions on what they need to do while they're going through it. Once the students are finished watching the modules, they'll be prompted to create a persuasive essay. The essay, along with the additional work completed, will be turned in to the teacher. The students will learn not only about persuasive content, but they're also going to learn about Appalachia, the mountains, and the people. Let's take a look at what the Appalachia project might look like from an English classroom perspective. Now keep in mind, our initial goal would be that the class would go through this project together, although the course is also designed so that if an individual would need to go through it on their own, that would work as well. So the first thing we get are the objectives. What is it that we want these students to learn when they complete this assignment? And then we get a quick review of what a persuasive essay is. Again, this module might be used within a class, and it's likely that a teacher would have reviewed what a persuasive essay is prior to going through the module. Here the learners are presented with 5 different video clips. Each one of these video clips has some persuasive material within it. When the learners select a video to watch, they'll be reminded to make sure they're looking for elements within the video that might be considered persuasive. After they've completed watching the video, they'll get to a screen where they have a prompt where they'll record any material that they listened to in the video that they thought might have been persuasive. If they were doing this individually, this is where they would record their answer, and then once they had finished watching all of those videos, their recordings would be compiled into one sheet. If they were watching this as a class, there would be a handout that the teachers would give them that they get in their teacher's pack, and the students would either break up individually or in groups and work on compiling their persuasive content that they saw within the videos. Let's take a look at what that content might look like. That's the handout that they'll get from the teacher. After each video, the students will have the opportunity to list some of the persuasive content that they saw in the video. This comes directly from the SOL testing from Virginia, where students are required to analyze content and look for persuasive material. After each video, the teacher will stop the module and have the students work on this worksheet. Or, again, if they were doing it individually, they could put their answers directly into the module. After the class finishes watching all 5 videos, they'll then have the opportunity to work on their persuasive essay. Their persuasive essay will put them in a situation. They are the head of the Appalachia Conservation Society, and they've just been given a grant that will allow them to spend $1 million towards one and only one group. They need to select which group they wish to spend the money on, and then justify their reasoning and create a persuasive essay based on why they chose that group. Once they've chosen the group that they want to write their persuasive essay on, they'll be given the opportunity within the module to work on a persuasive essay map. The first thing they'll do is create a thesis statement. And again, the teacher would be going through this with them as a class, and they would have the opportunity to discuss what a thesis statement is, in case there's anyone in class who's unaware. They'll then work on coming up with 3 supporting reasons for their thesis statement. If a student was going through this individually, they could always go back and review their answers. These answers are taken directly from the assignment they did after watching each video, where they had to come up with what material was persuasive in each video. They'll continue by providing 2 supporting facts. And again, most of the students will be doing this using the worksheet that the teacher has provided them. Finally, they'll be given an opportunity to write a summary to wrap up their argument. Once the student completes this, if they were going through the worksheets, they would have a good map for what their essay is going to be about. They'll then take that map that they've created, which includes their thesis statement, their 3 supporting reasons, their 2 supporting facts, and their summary, and they'll create the persuasive essay. The teacher will have the opportunity to suggest how long the essay would be based on their experience with their students. If a student was going through this individually and not as a class, they could continue with the module, and the module would provide them on one screen all of their answers to the previous questions. They could then print this out and use that as their map to begin working on their persuasive essay. So why should a school be interested in using the Appalachia Integrated Disciplines Project? Well, to begin with, the multidisciplinary approach works, and we have plenty of case studies that we could share with the school if they were interested in seeing how multidisciplinary has been used in other schools. Within the project itself, though, the social learning opportunities are tremendous. Imagine a school where a student is learning about history, and in that history class they're learning about Appalachia and Appalachia's role in history. And they begin talking with a student who is learning science, and in their science class they're learning about the ecosystem of Appalachia. and that student is talking with an English student who shares with them persuasively about some of the material that they've been covering. It's a perfect example of engaged learning, where the students can interact with each other, and even though their topics cross a broad variety of disciplines, they're all learning a similar topic and they can share with each other. It has great real-world applicability. We all know that when we come across an issue in the real world, it doesn't fit nicely into one discipline or one area. This topic and multidisciplinary approach allows our students to see that sometimes in order to find an answer, we have to look at it from different disciplines. And it provides for many students a great interaction opportunity. Many of these students will be able to take a field trip out to Appalachia just in their backyard and be able to see the same stuff that they're learning about in these modules. And again, this is just showing what one module might look like, and that would be using the program with high school English students. But the opportunities for other disciplines are endless. So at this point, we'll join back into the main session and answer any questions that may have come up.